Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a deep dive into a really fascinating stack of sources, excerpts from the Rig Veda, which are some of the oldest texts we even have.
Right, and they're not just dusty old poems. These are, well, they feel like direct lines to the past, people calling out, praying, singing hymns to specific gods, asking for very specific things.
Yeah, asking for help, for blessings. And our mission today, our deep dive, is really to listen in on that, to unpack what people were asking for, thousands of years ago, and pull out the details, the surprising bits that are tucked away in these verses.
Exactly. We'll be looking at hymns for deities like the Asvins, Ushas, or Dawn, Rudra, and Surya. We'll see how they were described, sure, but maybe more importantly, what kind of divine aid, actual, tangible help people were looking for.
And why look at ancient prayers? Well, because sometimes the basic human stuff, the needs, the hopes, they echo in ways you might not expect. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So jumping right in, we've got these Rig Veda excerpts. Hymns to the Asvins, Dawn, Rudra, Surya. And the basic idea is people are calling on them for help, for blessings in, well, pretty much all parts of life, it seems.
It gives us a really direct window, doesn't it, into what mattered most. What were the big problems? What were the things they felt they needed help with from, a higher power?
Let's kick off with the Asvins. They seem to be everywhere in these particular hymns. Who exactly are they? What's their main profile here?
The Asvins, yeah, they're definitely major players in this set. They get called wonder workers, heroes, sometimes Nasatyas. The texts tag them as bounteous givers, lords of hundred powers, and, interestingly, physicians. Big part of their identity is speed, movement, usually linked to their chariot.
Ah, the chariot. Yeah, the descriptions are something else, really vivid.
They really are. It's called, like, rapid as an arrow, thought swift, pulled by fast horses or winged things, even falcons sometimes. Often it's described as triple-seated, three-wheeled, rolls lightly.
Okay, sounds impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's that one detail.
Oh, right. The porpoise and the bull. When they supposedly visited Dividasa, one verse says their chariot was yoked with a porpoise and a bull together.
A porpoise and a bull on the
Yeah.
same chariot. Yeah, that's not your standard divine transport image, is it?
Definitely not. It kind of throws you, but it suggests something maybe unconventional, symbolic about them. They don't fit a neat box.
Okay, so these wonder workers, physicians with the, let's say, eclectic chariot setup, what kind of help were they actually known for? The sources seem to list just tons of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And it's fascinating how concrete it often is. Very physical help. A huge theme is rescue, deliverance from immediate physical danger. Like there's this recurring thing about them setting a swallowed quail free.
Rescuing a bird from inside something else, that's
Yeah.
specific.
Very specific. And probably their most famous rescue involves a guy named Buju, son of Tugra, apparently left for dead at sea. The hymns describe the Asvins swooping in with animated vessels crossing the air, or borne by winged things for days, or even a ship with 100 oars, just getting him out of the water.
So they're like the original Coast Guard, but with maybe flying boats?
Sort of, yeah. Ancient search and rescue, air and sea division. They also rescued others, Sayu, Atri, who they apparently freed from a pit or a tight spot. Manu gets mentioned. They pulled Vandana out of a cavern, comparing him to, like, hidden treasure being revealed. Rescued Rabba from bonds and water. It's a real pattern. Pulling people back from the brink.
And the physician title. What about healing?
That's another massive area for them. They're credited with making an old man, Saivana, young again, like literally stripping off his old skin. They helped Atri again, bringing him and his people out of a fire, it seems, into comfort.
Stripping off skin to become young. Wow. That's total rejuvenation.
It is. But maybe the most startling healing story is about Thespala. She lost her leg in battle, and the Asvins supposedly gave her an iron leg.
An iron leg. Not just healed the wound, but a metal prosthetic. Thousands of years ago.
That's what the text says. It's incredible, right? It speaks volumes about their power, tangible, maybe even sort of technological or magical restoration beyond the norm.
That's just amazing.
And there's more. They gave sight back to Rudrasva. His father had blinded him, apparently after a dispute involving a she-wolf. They made wells spring up for thirsty people, got a barren cow to give milk for Sayu. One hymn, maybe the most extreme claim, says they brought a man named Sarava back to life after he'd been cut into 3 pieces.
Okay, bringing someone back from being dismembered, that's definitely beyond just healing. That's mythic.
It absolutely pushes into the realm of the miraculous, doesn't it? Fixing things that seem completely irrevocably broken.
So rescue, incredible healing. But it sounds like they were involved in just about everything else needed for, a decent life, too.
Pretty much. They were called on for help in battles, winning spoils, land, getting sons. They protected friends, strengthened warriors. They helped people get back lost cattle, win races. There's a story about them winning a race using a stallion ass, believe it or not.
An ass winning a race. Okay.
Helped merchants like Osija, strengthened rulers, guarded specific people mentioned by name. They even get credit for agricultural stuff, plowing, sowing barley, milking out food.
Finding spouses comes up, too, right?
Yeah.
And giving sons, providing swift horses, bringing honey. That one detail about honey, pouring from a horse's hoof.
Yes. 100 jars of honey from a horse's hoof. Very vivid imagery. It's just this incredibly wide range. Survival, health, wealth, family, victory, even making speech or hymns effective. They strengthened people in games, guarded them day and night.
And there was something about knowledge, too. Secrets.
Right, a connection there. A hymn mentions them giving someone named Kaxivan wisdom, and there's the story of Dadhiok getting a horse's head from them, which allowed him to reveal some secret of the god Devastar, or the Soma's sweetness.
The horse's head again. Seems symbolic, maybe unlocking hidden knowledge. So, summarizing the Asvins, they're the hands-on guys. Specific, often fantastical interventions for almost any problem.
That captures it pretty well, I think. Very active, very direct. Now let's shift gears a bit. From these super active Asvins to Ushas, the Dawn, a very different kind of presence.
Yeah, the descriptions of dawn Ushas are beautiful. Fairest light, brilliant, bright leader of glad sounds, splendid colors, sometimes called fair and bright with white offspring. Maybe that means the first rays of sunlight.
Could be. And she's often framed in relation to Night, her sister. They're described as a kin, immortal sisters, always following each other on the same path but changing colors. The hymns stress they don't fight or clash, they just alternate. One follows the other.
So it's an ordered sequence, not a battle between light and dark.
Exactly, a cosmic cooperation. And Dawn's main job, it's awakening. She uncloses portals, stirs the world, reveals hidden riches, and crucially awakens every living thing, people sleeping, animals, even those who saw little before. She gets them moving.
Right, awakens people to their different tasks. Ruling, seeking glory, making money, just plain labor. Calls her child of heaven young maid, sovereign lady of earthly treasure.
And there's a real sense of her continuity. She's the first of endless mornings to come, but she follows all the ones that went before. She's seen by generations past, present, future. She has a role in the bigger divine picture, too. She causes Agni, the sacred fire, to be kindled. She reveals the world along with the sun's eye, and by waking people up, she also wakes them up to worship the gods.
What about blessings? What do people ask from dawn?
It's mostly about auspiciousness, for her to flush upon them with good things, riches, wealth, sons. Hero sons are often specified. Cows, horses. They asked for praise for their devotion, to be made important among the people. Her chariot has purple horses, another specific image.
And that one poignant line, she wakes the living, but not the dead. Her power is for this world, this life.
Precisely. Which brings us to Rudra. He feels, quite different again.
Yeah, he sounds formidable. Lord of Heroes, braided hair, called the wild boar of the sky, red, dazzling, but also holds medicines. And he's father of the Maruts, the storm gods.
Right, and the hymns directed to him, they have a very particular flavor. There's praise, yes, but a lot of the energy goes into asking him not to cause harm. It's about ensuring well-being by, well, keeping him happy.
That's a really key difference, isn't it? With the Asvins, it's please come do this amazing thing. With Rudra, it's often please don't hurt us.
Exactly that. The verses are stark. Harm not either great or small of us. Harm not the growing boy. Harm not the full-grown man. Slay not a sire among us. Slay no mother here. To our own dear bodies, Rudra, do not harm. They ask him not to hurt their children, their animals, their warriors. Keep your deadly arrow far away.
So there's a definite element of fear, or at least profound caution. His power is dangerous. But they do ask for positive things, too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's a dual appeal. They ask him to bring joy for his grace, for bliss in their families. They want protection, shelter, security, food, happiness. They call him the perfecter of sacrifice and really desire his favorable grace. So it's this mixed, deep respect, maybe tinged with fear, but also a real hope for his benevolent, protective side.
A much more complex relationship than with the interventionist Asvins or the life-starting Dawn.
Definitely. You acknowledge the power, try to avert the negative side, and hope to gain the positive.
Okay, and finally, Surya, the sun god.
Surya feels fundamental, almost elemental. He's the brilliant presence of the gods, the eye of other major deities like Mitra, Varuna, Agni. He's described as the soul, the life force of everything, moving or still, just pure godhead and might.
His role seems less about meddling in human affairs day to day and more about the basic running of the cosmos, at least in these times.
That seems right. His actions are essential, but cosmic in scale. He rises, fills everything air, earth, heaven. He follows dawn. When he unyokes his horses at the end of the day, night spreads her garment. He's just this eternal power. His symbol is his bay horses, bright and fast. Other gods, like Varuna and Mitra, observe his power in the sky.
And the prayers. Compared to the Asvins or even Rudra, there's not much direct asking aimed at Surya here.
That's noticeable, yeah. Just one specific request mentioned in these excerpts: deliver us from trouble and dishonor while he is ascending. It's broad. Protection, well-being, linked to his rising, his cosmic power, rather than, please fix my broken leg or help me win this race.
Okay, so we've got the Asvins, the hyperactive, specific problem solvers, Dawn, the radiant, life-initiating force, Rudra, the powerful, potentially dangerous one you need to appease and ask for grace, and Surya, the fundamental cosmic power source. Looking across all of them, what does this tell us? What stands out?
For me, it's just how incredibly practical the divine relationship feels here. The requests aren't primarily for, say, enlightenment or inner peace. They are overwhelmingly about tangible, immediate concerns. Staying alive, being healthy, having food and family, being safe, winning conflicts.
It's really rooted in the physical reality of their lives, isn't it? Don't drown, heal my blindness, give me cows, give me sons. These are the big asks.
Absolutely. And the way the divine is expected to help, especially with the Asvins, is through these incredibly specific, sometimes frankly weird, almost folkloric actions. The iron leg, the honey from the hoof, the porpoise bull chariot, the rescues from fire or being cut up. These aren't vague blessings. They're powerful interventions demonstrated through concrete, memorable, often fantastic deeds.
Like their divine resume is built on these specific miracles. You did that for him, so you can do this for me.
Exactly. That history of tangible intervention seems crucial, and that contrasts so clearly with Dawn's cyclical essential role, or Rudra's power needing careful handling, or Surya's more distant foundational presence.
And there's also that sense of a wider divine world, right? The way hymns often end by acknowledging other gods or powers, Mitra, Varuna, Aditi, earth, heaven.
It suggests these specific prayers are happening within a larger, complex cosmic framework. They aren't isolated pleas.
So when we pull back from this deep dive, what we see is a worldview where the gods are deeply, actively, sometimes bizarrely, tangled up in the everyday lives, the struggles, the hopes of people.
Yeah, the requests are raw, immediate. Rescue me, heal me, give me this specific thing, make sure you, the God I'm praying to, don't actually hurt me.
It's a really vivid window into what people valued, what they feared, all seen through the specific kinds of help they begged for from the divine. Okay, so here's the thought to maybe chew on.
When you look at how specific and physical these requests are, and how they often lean on the gods' track records of really tangible, almost magical feats, what does that tell us about the perceived relationship between humans and the divine back then? How close, how transactional, how practical was it? And how does that feel compared to maybe more modern ideas about prayer or faith?
Something to think about as you go about your day.
This has been a deep dive into these ancient texts.